Good morning, everyone. So this video is going to walk you through what you need to have done for Monday the 14th, I believe. If you guys have used CommonLit before, this might be repetitive, but just keep listening and pay attention. So if you follow the link that is provided via the announcement and in your week 4 modules, you can also find this on your homepage on my bookshelf in the Google Classroom. But once you get to the CommonLit website, however you do get to it, you can also just type this in to your search bar if you want to, whatever. But your page should look like this when you find the correct website. So once you're in CommonLit, you're going to go up here, right-hand corner, click Sign Up. Should be pretty easy. And you are a student. So right here, your class code is going to be found in your week 4 modules right above this video. So if you found this video, you should be able to see your code. Please make sure that you pay attention to the class period and you can just copy and paste it in there. I'm going to do that now. Pretend like we're second period. That's second period's code. Okay, sign up with CommonLit. So you're going to enter your first full name, same way that it's pulled into Infinite Campus or whatever. If you have discussed a nickname with me, that's fine. Just make sure I know what it is. And then your last name spelled correctly, exactly how it is. You guys are in 9th grade. Your email address, I want you to go ahead and put your school email address. I know it says optional, put your school email address. And then go ahead and make your password the exact same password you use to log into your school account. So that might be the last 4 of your social twice, or it might be something different if you came from a different middle school or whatever. So whatever password that you use to log into your school accounts, use that same password, okay? Once you do that, you're just going to click Set Up Your Account, okay? And it should take you and it should tell you, okay, you're in first period English, second period English 1 honors, third period English 1 honors, fifth period English 1, whatever it is, just make sure that you're in the class that you're supposed to be in. If for some reason you're not and you accidentally put the wrong code, please tell me and we'll have to reset it, okay? So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to go ahead and log in as myself, Miss Brandt, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when you get into an account. So when you guys get in here, it'll have you the option to show you your assignments. And when you click on your assignments, it'll tell you the article that's assigned for that day. It'll also be found in your daily agenda, and it'll also probably say it somewhere in your module. So you should know the title of the article. And like I said, you guys don't have to search through the library on yours. It'll just pop up in your assignments underneath of your class. Once you do get to the article, this section is going to look a little bit different for you guys. It won't let me do student view, so just bear with me, but most of this is the same. Once again, if you used CommonLit before, please keep watching just in case. If you have not, make sure you pay close attention. So I'm going to give you an article. This is a poem, so it's very short. Up here, it gives you a little blurb of extra information, background information. You want to make sure you read that every single time I assign you something. Just read that real quick before you start anything, and it'll kind of give you hints as to what you're about to read. The author is located here, as well as the year that it was written, okay? If you guys hate reading on screens like I do, you can go up here to font size and you can play with it. And you can make it a little bit bigger. You can also make it smaller. Whatever you guys want to do, you can play with the font size right there, excuse me. As you guys are reading, for most of your stories and articles and poems, most of them. There may be a few that don't do this, but most of them, I am going to blur out the remainder of your story until you answer your questions. So realistically, from the student view, this would all be blurred. You wouldn't be able to read ahead, and you would read there's these first 4 lines, and then you would get to this little bubble. This bubble's the same on yours as it is on mine. And you'll click that little Q1 bubble, and it's going to take you to a guiding question. These guiding questions are surface level. It should be stuff that you guys know Characterization is something you've probably learned before, so it's going to be pretty easy. If you read it, you should be able to answer these correctly every time. I believe it gives you a couple tries, but I can see that you guys tried more than once to answer. So don't just start clicking stuff until it is corrected. If for some reason we do ever give extra credit or we decide to curb an assignment, we will use these guiding questions to make that decision. So you need to make sure you're trying your best on these. If you don't understand the question and you're struggling to pick the answer, you probably just didn't read closely enough. So you need to just go back, reread, and look for that answer. And that's just making sure on complicated text you guys are getting the information you need. So once you answer this correctly, it's going to unlock the second portion of the poem, and it'll lead you into the next question. So same thing, pretty basic, straightforward question. You guys should all be able to answer these if you are reading close enough. If you cannot answer it, you need to go back and reread. Something else that is hidden within the text are sometimes you'll see these little numbers. These numbers are going to tell you what vocab words mean. So I would keep checking that. That's always a good strategy to use, and it'll help you understand better. So if you don't know what malice means, you'll click number 1, and you'll see it has to do with evil and harming others, and that'll kind of give you a vibe of what this poem's about. Same thing. Jeer, if you're not sure what jeer means, you can click the 2, and it's going to tell you more information on that word. You can also find this information at the bottom, but for longer things like short stories, so that you don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom, you can just click these numbers for that information. Okay, the next thing I want you to do while you are reading is oftentimes you will get an annotation task. This will help you later on if we go to write an essay or answer complicated questions or engage in a discussion. The annotations will save for you, so you'll already have that information highlighted and you won't have to hunt as much. So if you want to annotate something, you are just going to highlight the text that you want to annotate. Go over here. When we do annotations, and we will go over this more this week, there's going to be certain colors that represent specific things, so you can change the color to make it match the specific task at hand. And you can also add notes. So I believe this is a symbol for evil. Okay? Or you might say theme, evidence. Or you might say characterization for Bob. I'm just making stuff up, guys, but that just gives you an idea. So you can click a note. So when you get to the end and I ask you, did anybody find any symbols for evil? You can scroll up and look for your highlighted notes instead of rereading through all those words. And you click done, and it'll save it for you right there, okay? Even if you exit out of the CommonLit, your annotations will be there, and I can also view your annotations and give you grades for those. So annotating is a very important tool. Some of you may prefer to read in a different language, and that is perfectly fine. Instead of using Google Translate, you can click the little globe option. You can also select various languages. So let's say we prefer to read in Chinese. And then when you come over here and select the globe, for the poems, it's going to translate it for you line by line, so that it's not an overwhelming amount. For stories, I believe it goes by paragraph, but for poems, it's usually line by line. Okay, so you can just read a little bit at a time. It's right there. You're not copying and pasting anything into Google Translate. The last thing I want to show you guys is the read aloud. If you get distracted easy, if you have a hard time reading by yourself, you may want to select this. It'll start from the very beginning. Okay, you guys get the point. So it's a little dry, but you might prefer that option. And then the last thing you guys are going to do, so you've answered your guided questions, you've annotated, you've listened to the story, whatever you need to do. The last thing you guys will do, which is where most of your CommonLit grades will be. It's either going to be through annotations or potentially the assessment questions. Almost every article on CommonLit, there's a few that have more or less, but almost all of them have exactly 4 multiple choice and 1 short answer. For these short answer guys, you should always give a solid paragraph, 3 to 5 sentences, and that solid paragraph should always include evidence, okay? And we will talk about that more as we go on, but I just want to tell you from the get-go, if you are doing 1 sentence, it's not enough. If it does not have evidence, it's not enough. As you can see, most of these questions, it's going to ask about something standard connected, and then it's going to ask for evidence to prove that answer, okay? So usually part 2 will connect to 1, 4 will connect to 3. Not always, but for the most part it will. If you guys get to a question where it's referring to diction or word choice or vocab, and it says like in line 11, you can click that and it'll take you directly to the line it's referring to. See, same thing in these answers. If you need to refresh your memory and get context clues, it'll drag you straight to the part that it is focusing on. Okay. And I think that pretty much sums up CommonLit. Like I said, your guys's will probably look a little bit different, but it's going to have the same tools available to you. So I want you to play around with this, get your account all set up. I may assign you guys a practice article just so you can get used to using it, but it's not going to be graded. So no stresses. If you see an article assigned to you, that's just going to give you the opportunity to play around with some of these things I mentioned. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for CommonLit. Let me know if you guys need help with anything.